Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's see what we are going to discuss today. So today we are going to discuss about what are triggers, why do we need triggers, next what are the different type of triggers available in orchestrator and when should we use which one. Next we'll create a sample trigger in the orchestrator for a process. After that we'll see what are the scenarios that we need to handle in case of a queued jobs. Okay, and at the last I'll show a demonstration of the queued jobs based on the scenario we discuss. Okay, so what are triggers? So let's say you have developed a package and you are running it on your local machine with the help of UiPath Assistant and you are happy. Now there are set of users who like your process and they say that okay, we also want to have this process, but the catch is we want to have the process at 10 a.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. Okay, and somebody says that okay, I want it to run on a weekly basis, somebody says I want to run it on a monthly basis. How do you do that? So there are different time zones, right? So what you will do is you will publish the packet to the orchestrator. In orchestrator we have a tab called triggers. There you will schedule the process. So in simple terms, triggers enable you to execute jobs in a pre-planned manner, as simple as that. Next, what are the different type of triggers? There are two type of triggers. One is called the time triggers. The time trigger is what we have just seen now, when you want to execute it at a regular interval. Let's say example, if you want to execute the process on every Monday, or you want to execute the process on every Wednesday of every 15th, or let's say you want to execute on every 1, 5th, 10th and 12th of the month, that is called a time trigger. Next, we have a one special kind of trigger which we call a queue trigger. So what exactly is a queue trigger is, so whenever an item is added to the queue triggers get executed. Okay, so let me give an example. Let's say you have a process, you want to trigger the process only when you receive an email. So how you will design a process is, we will create a bot which will keep looking for the email, and whenever we receive an email, an item is added to will be added to the queue, and whenever an item is added to the queue, the respective job will get triggered, right? So that's why it is called a queue trigger. Okay, so then we have a page in orchestrator which is called the trigger page, that enables you to create new trigger, manage existing ones, as well as instantly launch a job for the existing trigger. We can manage the triggers, we can delete the triggers. Okay, so now that we understand what triggers are exactly, so let's see where exactly the triggers are written or enabled in UiPath Orchestrator. So this is the UiPath Orchestrator. So as of now, whatever I am showing, I am going to demonstrate it for the classic folder. So if you will see, there are two type of folders. One is the classic one and other is the modern folder. So everything which I am demonstrating today is applicable to the classic folders. Okay, so if we go here under automation, we will see a tab called triggers. Okay, so this is the triggers which we are talking about. So this is an interface where you will see all the available triggers, everything here, right? So if you'll see this plus button at the right hand side, if I'll just click on plus button, you will get two options. The one was the time one and other is the queue one, right? So as you can see, these are the two we were talking about. The time option, it says schedule a recurrent time to start a job. Queue, start a job when a new item is added to the queue. The name suggests itself. So today we are going to see only the time trigger and some of the constraint in it, right? So what exactly is the time trigger? Let's see, try defining a time trigger, right? Let's say we call it trigger one. Okay, so we give a name as trigger one. Next we have to select the process which we want to trigger in an timely manner, right? So I will select the process of sample unattended process. It's a simple process which purpose is to just print hello world or just a message box, right? Next we have job priority. So job priority, the default priority is inherited, low, medium, high. So the default one is inherited, that means it will take the priority of the job. So the job process which we have executing is the sample unattended process, so it will inherit the priority from the process. So that's why I'll keep it as default, right? So this is the second thing. Next important thing is the time zone. So as of now I'm located in India, so I will select the UTC plus 5:30. Okay, so next, now we have execution target, right? So execution target means, so this sample unattended process is tagged to an environment. Okay, so and that environment is having only one robot. So let's say if your environment is are having 4 robots and you want to execute it on all the robots, so you select all the robots. For this demo, I am going to select this specific robot. That means that the robot I will select, it will only execute in that robot. So the purpose is, for example, if you are dealing in a company, right, and you have a software that is particularly installed, let's say you have an SAP application and that is installed on a particular robot, right, then you cannot say to run the process on all the robots because you have installed the software on a particular robot. In that case, you go for specific robot. Then there is something which is called allocate dynamically. Allocate dynamically is a big topic that we will cover in a later video. So what, I'll give you a high level example. So allocate dynamically is that uh, UiPath orchestrator will itself decide whenever the robot is free, it will automatically allocate. But there are many things that comes with this allocate dynamically. Okay, so as of now, we'll stick to specific robot. We'll select the robot. Okay, next. I have selected a time zone. Next thing is, how do you want to execute the process? So as of now, I want it to execute every, let's say every hour, or let's say for the demo, we'll execute it every 1 minute or every 5 minutes. Okay. Next, every 5 minutes we have option of executing it daily. We have option of weekly if you want to execute on Monday, Thursday. So this is what we mean by a timely manner. Monthly, you want to execute it for every which day of which month at which hours, right? So this is called monthly. And then we have something called advanced one that we'll cover in this video later on. So as of now, I'll just go by monthly scheduling. I'll select every 5 minutes. Okay, and I'll just leave this thing to the default setting. I'll just hit add. Okay, so as soon as I add a process, you will see this is going to execute in next 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes, and next run is in a few seconds. So if I quickly go to the jobs pane, you will see the last job was executed 10 hours ago. Okay, so if I go to the triggers, see in 5 minutes, and if you go to see, this is an unattended process, and this, if I go to the jobs, okay, so you will see this is executed. And how do I know this is the one? Because if I click OK, so this process is ended. How do I know? Because if you will see here source, the source says trigger 1. That means it is executed by the trigger we just created, and the next run is in 4 minutes. Okay, so this is how we create a time trigger. I'll just quickly remove this one, otherwise it will keep running. So if we'll see in the jobs, so this is how we get to know which trigger executed which process. Okay, and this is the robot. Okay, so just now we have seen how we can create a time trigger. So now I want to show you some of the things that we need to take care when we create a time trigger in orchestrator. Okay, so assuming that we have a process called accounting, that process is deployed in a robot called robo, and the process is scheduled to run thrice. Okay, so we create a schedule on the same robot on the same process 3 times: 12, 12:30 and 1 p.m, right? So in ideal scenario, when everything is okay, the process will start at 12, it will stop, then it will run at 12:30, it will stop, and then it will run it at 1 p.m, right? Let's see what are the scenarios that we need to take care in the time triggers. Okay, consider a first scenario: the job start at 12 and it ends at 12:29. Okay, good enough. Next, the trigger 2 will execute. It will start at 12:30 and it will end at 12:35, right? So now will schedule 3 or trigger 3 will start at 12:35? No, because the schedule time is 1 p.m. So the trigger will start at 1 and it will end simultaneously. Okay, so this is the most happiest scenario and the robot is happy. Okay, let's see a different scenario. The trigger 1 started at 12. Okay, and because of some reason, let's say resources or anything, the schedule did not ended till 12:35. So now we can see we have already a robot which is scheduled at 12:30, right? So what will happen? So as soon as the clock hits 12:30, this process will go, the trigger 2, the job for the trigger 2 will go in a pending state. Okay, and it will remain in the pending state till 12:35 because the trigger 1 is ending at 12:35. So once at 12:35 it is ending, it will start its execution from 12:35 and so on. Let's say now it is continuously running till 1 p.m. Okay, and at 1 p.m. we have another job schedule, right? What happens? But the trigger 2 still running from 12:35 and it has not ended till 1 p.m. Now what will happen now? Same thing, trigger 3 will again go to the pending state. Okay, So this is a quite a happy scenario for the robot. Okay, let's see a different scenario now. We start the process 12, 12, exactly 12, the trigger one get triggered. Okay, because of some resource utilization or the machine was not down, the process was not ended till 12:30, right? So what happens at 12:30? 12:30 the triggers goes into pending state, because since the first trigger is still executing the job on the same robot. See, we have already told, we have already scheduled the process on single robot only, right? Since the robot is already busy with the first job, it will put the trigger 2 in the pending state, right? Now consider a scenario that now 12, now the time is 12:45, still trigger 2 is pending. Now the time is 1 p.m., right? The clock hits 1 p.m. What exactly happens now? Trigger 1 is executing, trigger 2 is in pending state, and we have one more trigger which is coming to the same robot, right? What will happen now? So there will be no action for the third trigger, and we will get an error from the orchestrator saying that the robot already have a pending job on this process. So why this happened? Because trigger 1 was executing for a long time. It was supposed to end at 12:30, it did not end at 12:30. So so the orchestrator, the job was went into orchestrator job for schedule 2 went to a pending state, and since till 1 p.m. also the trigger 1 was not able to complete, so trigger 3 there was no action for trigger 3, and we get an error in the orchestrator which says the robot already have pending job for the process. This is not a very much happy scenario for the job, for the bot, so we have to handle this one. Let's quickly show this in action. Let's quickly go and check the scenarios what I just demonstrated. So I go here, I just quickly create a trigger, I name it as trigger 1. Okay, I select the process as unattended process specific robot, and I'll just select the robot, select the time zone to UTC plus 5:30, and I'll execute it in, let's say, on early basis. And so now the time is 10:33, I want to execute it at 10:35. Okay, so that is my first trigger at 10:35. I just add it. Okay, that is in a minute. I'll quickly go and add one more trigger, trigger 2. Process is this one, specific robot, this guy, and I'll just select UTC plus 5:30. So that was at 10:35, this would be 10:36. I'll add it. I'll add one more trigger, trigger 3. Process as this one, specific robot, this robot, UTC plus 5:30, 10:37, and add. Okay, so now this is going to execute in a few seconds, this is in a minute, and this is in 2 minutes. So I want to demonstrate some of the scenarios here. Let's see what I mean. Okay, so there is an interval of exactly 1 minute in between, and if I go to the job span, so job span would be blank because there is no job. So last job was 6 minutes ago. Okay, so now the trigger will be executed. As you will see, if I go to the triggers, okay, this one is executed now. So the next trigger is going to execute in a minute, and this job is still not processed because I have not completed the OK button, right? So if I go to the jobs, you will see it is still in the running mode and there is no pending job available, right? So let's just wait for 1 minute. So ideally what should happen now, so there is one more job which is to be executed by this robot, and this robot is busy, right? So exactly at one in a few seconds at 10:36, so as of now you will see the time, this is 10:35. At 10:36 one more job will be triggered and the previous one is not completed yet, right? So what happens now? Let's go to the jobs and see. So this is still in a pending state, this is still in the running one, so this is the trigger 1. Okay, I'll just do it like this. Okay, so this is not completed and there is one more job coming for the same robot. Okay, now if you will see, the state is now pending. Okay, and it will be in pending state till the time the robot is not available. So that is the scenario we will handle when we are dealing with allocation with a specific robots. Okay, as you will see, this is still pending. So as soon as I click it OK, so this job is successful and this is running. Okay, so this is running now. Now what happens if I go to the triggers? There is one more trigger which is going to execute in a few seconds. Okay, if I click it OK, then if I go to triggers, okay, I'll go to jobs. You will see this job is completed, trigger 1 is completed, trigger 2 is completed, and now we have pretty much robots available for the trigger 3. So these are the two happy scenarios which these were the scenarios of the happy ones 1 and 2. So if I go to the last trigger, just quickly see. Okay, so this is going to execute in a few seconds, and if I go to the jobs, okay, this is executed now. Okay, so all our three triggers are executed. So the bottom line is, whenever a process is running and one another hits on the same robots, the one goes into a pending state. These are the happy scenarios, but I was talking about the last scenario. Let's just quickly go and edit, do some changes. So now we are at 10:37. I will just make it to 10:39. Okay, I will update this one to 40. 40. Okay, and I will update this one to 41. 41. Okay, so now what I have done is, again we have set up the same schedule. So now this is going to execute in a minute, in a 2 minutes, and 3 minutes. The scenario which we are going to discuss here is the last scenario, where the first job is not completed till 3 minutes. So ideally what should happen is, whenever the first job is running, the second one should be in pending state. And okay, so this is going to execute in a few seconds. Now this will execute at 10:39. When this is executing, this one will go in a pending state. But what happens if trigger 1 is not completed, and this the timeout for trigger 2 happens, and then there is one more trigger on the place, right? So what happens there? That is the scenario which we wanted to discuss. Okay, we'll go to the jobs. Let's wait for it to execute. So this is the place where you can check in the job span that which process is running, which robot was running, which is the user, and this is the source. So if you can see, the source is now trigger 1. That means this job is executed from trigger 1. Okay, so I will not click on OK to this one, because if I click OK, the process will end. Okay, so this is the scenario which we exactly want to test. So what we want to test is, so we have a trigger which is executing. Then if I go to the triggers, there is one more trigger that is scheduled in just a few seconds, that will be triggered in just 10:40. So the time is now 10:39. So it is again going to come in the pending state. So that is a still a good scenario for us, right? So if I go to the jobs, you will see this one is running because I have not clicked on OK. So that's why it is still running. So as soon as we hit 10:30, 10:40, it is going to add one more, and that will be in the pending state. So whenever you run a job manually from here, you will see the source as manual. Whenever it is running from a trigger, you will see the name of the trigger here likewise. Okay, so this, and you can also use this wizard to filter the source, the interval, the users. So these are all the filters which we can leverage. Okay, so now you can see the second job is also in the pending state. Okay, so we have not clicked OK for the first one, and still the second one is in pending state. Okay, now if I go to the triggers, you will see in a few seconds one more trigger is going to execute at 10:41. So as of now it is 10:40. So we already have one pending job in the same robot, and one other one is going to execute in a few seconds. Okay, so if I go to the jobs now, see, this one is in the pending state. This is running because the first trigger is not executed. We go to pending. Okay, so let's just wait for 10:40. We go to triggers. Okay, so if I go to the see, so this is the message which I was demonstrating. So now we have got an error which says that could not execute because it's already have pending jobs in the process. Okay, so now you see all the three triggers were executed in the last scenario, but what happens if I go to the jobs now? So we have got an error. So if you go to the jobs now, so you will see trigger 1 was executed, trigger 2 was executed, and there is no other job for the trigger 3 because we have it has given an exception, there are no available robots. And if I go to the triggers, you will see this trigger is already executed, and next it is going to execute in 10 hours. So this is pretty much the scenario which I wanted you to take care of when you are dealing with a trigger where you have used specific robots. So when we use specific robots, then we have to take care of the scenarios that what happens if such thing occurs, right? So apart from this, we have different triggers called allocate dynamically, then we have queue triggers. We'll discuss that in a later part of the video. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and till then, happy automation. Bye bye.